So the next section of the Business Center is the payment solutions. And you can see we've got a few options here for transactions. The main one we'll look at today is manual transactions. So when we say manual transactions, we mean anything that's not processed through your website. So for lots of different reasons, you might have customers who can't or won't put a payment through your website for whatever reason. With the manual transaction screen, it allows you to capture all those sales you might have missed otherwise. So you might take payments over the phone, via fax, via mail even, face-to-face. You can still process those transactions through this screen. So if we have a look at the screen on the left-hand side here, we've got all the customer details. Now, they're not required, but it's always a good idea to populate as much information as possible for your customers to make it easier to go back later and find out who they are and who processed the transaction. We can also put a reference number in if you want to tie it back to a number on your end, and even a description. Now, if we go to the right, we've got all the credit card information, which are required fields. So we need to put the customer's name in, or credit card holder's name, the number, so the 16-digit number, a valid expiry date, the CVN number or CV2, it goes by a few different names. It's basically the number on the back of the card. For Visa and MasterCard, Amex is on the front, but just adds a little bit of security to the fact that you know that the cardholder has physical control over the card. And then finally the amount that you want to process for. Let's go $10. Hit the button, confirm the payment. And we've got the result. So once again, it's successful. So it's as easy as that. So the good thing with manual transactions, it's a bit of a catch-all. So for payments that aren't going through the website that you might have otherwise missed, at least you can come in and log in and do a manual transaction. So you're getting as many payments as possible through your account. Recurring payments. I touched on recurring payments previously. Recurring payments allows you to set up your customers on a recurring payment plan or a subscription or membership plan. So on a given date for a given amount, you can actually charge your customers automatically without them or yourself having to manually charge them each time. So an example of this might be a magazine membership. So at the first of each month, the customer gets automatically charged $10 subscription fees. The recurring engine will automatically bill the card on file for the amount, which means that you don't have to come in each time and process the transaction for your client. So that's quite a popular product and really good for businesses who have that recurring revenue model. Stored payments is where we take the credit card details and the amount and store it to be processed at a later date. So you might have a customer who you know doesn't have the funds until next week, so there's no point trying a transaction now. But you might want to try it on payday next week, so you can store the details until then. Another reason for stored payments is you might be doing a pre-order, so you want to take the details now, but you don't want to charge them until you know the goods are shipped. So this allows you to store one-off payments and process them when you want to. Token payments is, I guess, the next step for stored payments. Rather than just storing the one-off transaction, you can store customers' details to be processed against at any time. So you might have a regular customer who comes back time and time again. Rather than them having to enter their details or you having to collect their details each time, you simply store them first time and then just process the amount against the stored data that we have on file. Batch payments is where you can upload a file with multiple manual transactions. So if you had, say, 100 manual transactions to process, rather than sitting there and punching in 100 different transactions, which would drive you mad, you can populate the file and upload them, and the system will automatically go through each line in the file and process it accordingly. So it's really for mass uploads or bulk uploads of transactions. And finally, we have pre-auth payments, which is where you can authorize and reserve funds on a credit card and then capture them at a later date. So similar to when you check into a hotel, they swipe the card, and then when you check out, they actually capture the payments and add anything that's been put through on the bill. So that's the payment section. There's a lot of power there. Like I said, the manual transaction area is where you're going to spend most time on payments, but there's a few other niche products in there like recurring, stored, token, batch, pre-auth that may suit your business model. So if you've got a bit of time at a later date, it might be an idea to go through them in a little bit more